mostly you'll be heard of ETL, but how many of us know about ELT, and why is market is shifting towards ELT, right? Let's understand this in elaborative session. Before that, if you are in learning path about the data and its related technology, then don't forget to subscribe for this channel and tap bell button to get more notification on this. So let's first define what is ETL, right? So and let's understand in detail what exactly the ETL means and what are the different stages of it, how actually the process flow happens, right? So if you see, this is a typical ETL scenario where you'll be having whether it is a ETL or ELT, definitely will be having two things. One is source systems and other is a target systems. So source is from where we get the data, right? It may be any database, any CRM, any ERP application, or it may be a web server or application server. So it can be anything for that matter, the source, right? And our intention is to get or extract the data from these sources. And so this would be the first step. So where we call it as the extract, right? So once we extract the data, so we go for this next step, which is a transforming the data. So transforming data can happen in intermediate staging layer, or it can happen at source system itself. So this staging layer is a optional step, I would say. But so this staging layer can happen in like this point number 2 can pretty much happen in along with the point number 1 during extraction only. We can transform the data and then bring the data, or have an intermediate staging layer, so where we perform the transformation, right? So in the transformation there might be multiple steps that we want to achieve here. There might be any complex query written or complex kind of a joins that we are doing here, performing, and then fetching the data based on that, maybe the transformation or the curation logic that you define here, business logic that you define here, and we get only the data which is needed to the further steps. That means point number 3. So we won't get the entire source data here. From point 1 we are getting entire source data to the transformation logic, but when you see point number 3 where we are loading, so we load only the data which is needed to the target system, right? So here we need to be uh, clear about one thing, that with respect to the design aspect of it, so we should be very clear that we are defining a proper definition of all the tables, all the attributes that you have, all the mapping that you have, that needs to be predefined, before in place, so that we have a proper data model and the design is ready before in hand. So we define the proper definition or the data model before in hand, the ETL process starts, right? And like we should be very sure about the transformation logic at the beginning of the project. So that's what we mean, that is the intention of ETL, or that is the need of a ETL process. So what is the example of ETL? So like we can, as I was mentioning, we can take some complex query. It may be a combination of joining different tables, or performing some kind of transformations. Since this is executed at a source system, right? So this transformation what we are talking about, so this will be mostly executed at a source system itself. Like suppose we are doing a select star from so and so table and mapping or joining that table with other tables, right? And so that particular transformation will happen at the source system, and that will overload the source system. That means that will take up the compute power of the source system here. This is brief about ETL and its process. So if you see, so this is a traditional approach we would say, like where this is like it's been in the market from say 20 30 years, and whatever you see in the target system, so the intention is after loading to the target system again, so this can be served for multiple purpose. There can be a dashboard builds, reports builds, so there can be anything which can be built on top of this target system, so based on the use case. But end of the day, so the intention is to extract, transform and then load, and the extraction load or the compute power will be consumed from the source system itself. So like we will go for the next thing, which we call it as a ELT, right? So which is little different than what we are talking about ETL. So if you see this diagram or the entire flow, we'll be understanding that step by step. So if you see the source system here, can be again a databases or any streaming systems. Why we are considering streaming system here is so in ELT process. So whenever there is a streaming system, the best approach or best methodology is ELT instead of ETL. So that we will see in the later of this session. But so source system can be database, streaming system, or any IoT or sensor machines for that matter. And the first step is the extraction process. So where we extract the data or ingest the data from any of these sources to our target system. So here we are not transforming the data at a second step. What we are doing in a second step, we are loading the data first, and then after loading the data, we are actually doing the transformation. That means we're actually loading entire data. So unlike ETL, where we get only subset of data, right? So here we are loading the entire data to the data lake in the or a data warehouse for that matter. And then what we do is, and then we apply the transformation logic as needed, and then again get it back or write into a same data lake or data warehouse in maybe in different location, right? So here what we can observe is, so we have moved the compute power from the source system to the target system. So here in the source, what we are doing, we are just doing a select star, or we are just doing an ingestion. So there is no complex operation or transformation that is being performed on top of the source system. We are simply bringing the data, ingesting the data to data lake or data warehouse or the target system, and then so in the target system, so we are using the compute power or the resource of the target system to perform the filtration or the curation part. So here we use a target system compute power. In ETL we use a source system compute power. So that's one of the major difference. So say for example, we were discussing about one of the example where we are doing a complex, we are writing a complex query like select star from a table, and we are mapping that with the different tables, joining and like other complex transformations in ETL. So the same query will, the same query or the transformation logic will work or will execute on the target system in the case of ETL. So that's the whole difference here. So I think this is clear, and let's move to the next slide. So which we talk about a use case of ETL. So we'll discuss what would be a real-time use case of a ETL when we are talking about ETL. So how exactly in a real-time project a ETL process will look like, or architecture of a ETL project will look like. So as you can see, there can be multiple sources like a SQL Server, SAP HANA system, Oracle, or any other databases, or there might be different file system that we are getting data from. So typically there can be any kind of source systems here, and we target to extract this data and then transform this and then load. So that this transformation, if you observe, like it is not happening in the target system, that is data warehouse, it is happening before that. So before loading to the target system, which is the data warehouse, this transformation happens, and then we'll be pushing to the target system, that is data warehouse. And in real time, there might be different use cases that we create a model on top of this data warehouse, and we create a kind of a like a business intelligence dashboards, maybe any kind of dashboards we want to have for the visualization purpose, or there might be a business reports running on top of this data warehouse, and like finally these are consumed by the end users or business users, right? So with this, let's see what would be the use case for ELT, how exactly it looks in a real-time project. So as you can see, there might be again a different variety of sources here. So unlike the previous ETL, here we see like IoT sensor kind of a data where we talk more about the real-time use cases. So when there is a real-time use cases, the best fit would be ELT. So we will know why, what is the reason for that in the next coming slides. So and there might be any kind of other source system like database file system as well. And we usually have a ingestion mechanism. We use ETL tools or a kind of a intermediate ingestion connectors we use for the ingestion purpose. And then we are storing the data, because the intention of ELT is the same, right? Like we store the data, we ingest and store the data in first place. So whenever we are storing, we choose maybe like a Delta Lake or a Data Lake or a kind of HDFS locations, which are cheaper solutions for storing a large volume of data. So we store those in any of these kind of storage solutions, and then we can have a transformation. The transformation maybe we are running some AI machine learning scenarios, or maybe a simple transformation logic, and then finally we load back the data to the storage systems. And then again that continues with similar like visualization as we saw in ETL. So that process is same, where we build a Power BI or any kind of BI scenarios where we expose this to the end users. So that will be same. But if you observe here, the main thing to note is here extract, load and transform ELT. So the exact the compute power, we are not utilizing the source, we are utilizing the target system, that is maybe a Data Lake or Delta Lake or any target system for that matter. Here what matters is the compute power of the target system, right? So we need to have a good compute power for the target system defined here. So that's the whole necessity for ELT, right? Yeah, jumping to the next slide. So let's understand what are the popular ETL or ELT tools. So there are many ETL or ELT tools available in the market. So just to name a few. So these would be a few actually to name. So maybe Talend or Airflow, Blendo. So like these are like just few examples. But it is not like there are specific tools for ETL and ELT. There is nothing like specific tools. So it is just like how we design the solutions, right? So Talend can be used to perform ETL, or it can be used to perform ELT as well. So there is nothing specific tools which are separately for ETL and ELT. So that's the important when we are choosing the tools. Now we'll see what are the advantages of ETL over ELT. That means when we want to go for ETL rather than going for ELT. So starting with whenever there is a requirement of a speedy analysis of data, meaning so that we need to understand the analysis and analytics are two different things. Whenever we are talking about analysis, it is just we bring the data and we do some basic transformation of the data, and then we use it for a reporting or kind of a dashboard kind of use cases. So where there is no analytics required, analytics in the sense there is no machine learning or kind of a AI kind of or data engineering, complex data engineering process involved. So that we call it as just a data analysis, right? So whenever we just want to bring the history data which is already there, and we are not performing any complex predictive analytics or such things, so then definitely the best option is to go with the ETL. And the next option would be when for choosing ETL would be whenever we want to follow a regulatory compliance. In industry, we have to follow certain regulatory compliance like GDPR, HIPAA, ICCPA, and so on. So these are like a few are dependent on the country that the implementation or the data is being consumed. So whenever we have such requirements, so then ETL is the best option. The reason is we cannot bring in terms of ELT, so we bring the entire data, right? So that will not that might not follow this or suit this regulatory compliance case. So in that case, choosing ETL would be the better option. And one more case is whenever we have a security reason, That means again with the same because of same reason, like in ELT we are bringing entire data, and we need to take care of each and every attribute or each and every transaction, whether it is secure or whether it is encrypted and other details. So whenever it is easier to choose ETL in terms of whenever we want to follow this security compliance related things, so that we have less data. So whenever we have less data, it is easy to encrypt and maintain the data in a more secure way, right? And one more option would be like whenever there is a source system is not a compute intensive, meaning source system might be having a large volume of capacity for it, but it might not have a good compute power, so that is capable of running a complex transformations or so. So the next option would be whenever we have a source system which is compute intensive, meaning source system is capable of handling the complex transformations that is being triggered to it. In that case, so why not we can use ETL, right? So because since it can handle complex queries or transformations, then we better go for a ETL in this case as well. So next, understand so what are advantages of ELT over ETL now, right? So whenever we are talking about ELT, so these are the scenarios, or these are the advantages of ELT over ETL. Then we choose ELT rather than choosing ETL, right? The first scenario might be there might be a use case like data analytics use case or data science use case, where the data is coming in real time and the data volume is really huge, and we have to perform a complex analytics on top of this. So definitely we cannot perform the complex analytics in terms of ETL, right? Because that will overload complete transformation and the source system. So definitely we have to go for ELT. And next option would be like where we see the large volume of data, that we call it as a big data. And not only volume, there might be a large variety of data. It may be like semi-structured, structured, and unstructured data which is coming in, and performing a complex analytics to parse this data would be a challenging piece in terms of ETL. So again, we choose ELT here. And whenever there is a source system is not much having a good compute resource, in that case we cannot definitely go with ETL. We will choose to go with the ELT. And also source system might be consumed from multiple target systems. In that case also source system will get overloaded. So in that case also we need to go for ELT. And we talk about a schema less data. That means this is more a design aspect, where we want to keep the design open for any changes. So we talk about NoSQL, MongoDB, and Cosmos DB. So the best advantage of using this is like these are all schema-less data. I mean, this can hold a schema-less data, and then because of that advantage that we have using these, so we can anytime change the schema however we require. So this is well suited if you are using ELT. If you are using ETL, so where we want to define the attributes and the data model in the beginning of the design phase or the development phase, so this will be more challenging if we use ETL to have this schema less enabled. So the best option would be ELT. So all these points what we discussed in this slide, where we talk about ELT, choosing ELT over ETL. So this is pretty much the need of the hour. That means in all the real-time projects which are coming today, or almost all the projects that we see. So all are having these kind of scenarios. All are having the data analytics use case, and the data is volume is huge, and most of the cases we are bringing from the different multiple sources which are not much compute intensive, and we want to keep the schema less scenario, where we want to store the data in like NoSQL kind of databases. So these are all true in whatever the current scenario or current trend of projects what we are working on. So that's the reason. So the advantage of going to ELT is more than rather going to ETL. And so let's understand why is there's a paradigm shift from ETL to ELT in the market today. So as you can see, like So there are like, coming to the source system category. So source systems are getting larger from like, we talk about big data sources nowadays, right? Like there are a lot of the volume of the data is very huge, so that's the reason we call it as a big data. And also it's not just the volume that we are getting the different types of variety of data. So we are getting the not only data from tables, we are getting from files, and we are getting semi-structured data and unstructured data kind of things. So that's the reason we call it as a big data source here. So nowadays we are seeing a lot of big data sources. So that's the reason, one of the reason that we choose ELT here. And other reason would be source data is getting larger. So as I was mentioning, in terms of multiple sources. So previously it was just, we used to have like only a limited number of sources, but now the intention of enterprise project would be connecting to multiple global sources, and then ingest the data from multiple global sources, right? So that's also currently one of the use case that we are referring here. And there might be as I was mentioning, there might be a different type of data. So and these kind of data need a complex transformation, so we can't just transform these whenever we are ingesting the data, right? So we need to bring that to a target system and then apply the transformation. So that's also one of the reason why we are going to ELT. And considering the target system, so target systems are matured enough nowadays with advanced technology and the technology growth that has been happening. We can consider as a data lake, maybe Azure data lake, or Hadoop distributed file system, which is HDFS. So these target systems are matured, not only matured, but also they are getting cheaper in terms of, since they are hosted in cloud. So they can be cheaper and they can be scalable solutions. So that's because of that, one of the reason we can go for ELT rather the ETL. And the third we would mention as how it makes in the design, right? So and how it keeps the design flexible. If you see, data model design changes can be kept open. So whenever we are choosing ELT, so any data model changes that you foresee that might be coming in later in the project, that can be kept open in terms of ELT. So we need not define at beginning of the project. And so this is a ELT is considered as the best choice for data science, machine learning kind of scenarios. So the reason is again the same, since we have a good compute power in the target systems, so we can write a complex data science or machine learning kind of scenarios. And so again, it's a best choice when we are choosing maybe IoT or real-time data which is coming from different sensors or IoT devices, or some server logs, which is more of a real-time data, as we need a good latency for these systems, right? So in the real-time data, or when we have a large amount of data, the latency matters. So if you go for ETL, so then the problem is we are doing a transformation at a source, so that might create a latency issue. And so that's the reason the best fit for this kind of scenarios is ELT, right? Let us move for the next one. So if we see why market is moving for ETL and ELT, that we seen in the previous slide. There is a one bonus use case I want to share. So if you see this diagram of ETL versus ELT in one slide, so what we are seeing here is like if you see the target system, so there is a target system and one generic use case is defined for on top of this target system. That means there is a particular use case. So for that particular use case, we are actually doing a ETL here. But if you see in case of ELT, so since the data is loaded first and then we are performing the transformation, so a different use case, maybe a different use case or a different project can ask for different transformations here. So that flexibility is there in case of ELT. So that's one of the another reason so why ETL is chosen. So with all these reasons, I think it was convincing to understand why we are moving towards ELT, which is extract, load, transform, rather than ETL.